During this presentation, I will be discussing about memory. Memory is an important part of our cognition and allows us to carry out our day-to-day activities. What is memory? Our memory is defined as the formation of records of new experiences and the use of the information to guide subsequent or future activities. Memories draw on past knowledge to use it in the present and future. Everyone has their own personal memories that provide an essential element to their uniqueness. Your memories will be different from your parents, which will be different from their parents, and so on. Memory is the process of taking in information from the world around us, processing it, storing it, and later recalling that information. I will talk more about this on the next slide. Lastly, memory also provides the basis for skills and for shared knowledge, including language and social concepts. The stages of memory. The first stage to memory is called attention. You must attend to what you are doing in order for the world around you to be processed. If you are not focused and not concentrating, the process of taking in information will be less likely to go into memory. The second stage of memory is called encoding. Encoding is how the memories will be formed by taking the physical and sensory input that you receive and transforming it into a representation that can be stored in your memory. The third stage of memory is called storage. Storage is how our memories are retained and saved for later by the movement of encoded information into the memory. Maintenance of information will also occur in this stage. The fourth and last stage of memory is called retrieval. Retrieval is how our memories are recalled, or the recovery of stored information from our memory by moving the information into our consciousness for use in active cognitive processing. We can retrieve our memories in two ways, either through recall or recognition. Recall is the retrieving of our memories with no hints, and recognition is retrieving of memories with hints. Types of memory. There are essentially three main types of memory that you can have: sensory, short-term, or long-term memory. Sensory memory is defined as our initial sensory experience of the world. This memory has a very limited duration in which it occurs, being a fraction of a second. This memory will allow you to remember what is happening around you in the very second that something takes place. Our second type of memory is our short-term memory. This memory is temporarily stored and actively utilized and is readily accessible. Short-term memory has a short duration and a small storage capacity in our brain. This type of memory allows our brain to either dismiss it or transfer the short-term memory onto our long-term memory. Within short-term memory, you have a type of memory called working memory. Working memory holds information in mind while performing complex tasks and keeps the memory active while engaging in the other memory systems until our desired action is executed. For example, our working memory can be us remembering a question long enough to think about it and formulate an answer. Another example is holding a person's address in mind while listening to instructions to get there from our GPS. These are both examples of our working memory. For working memory, the storage capacity is about 5 to 9 items, the number 7 being the magical number. Remember things such as cell phone numbers, since they are 7 numbers, will help you to remember better. For short-term memory, repetition and practice strategies will help these memories transfer to our long-term memory. Our third and last type of memory is our long-term memory. For this memory, the storage is long-term, meaning the memory can be in the brain for years, all the way through our life. The brain has a larger storage capacity for these memories, and the memories can be either explicit or implicit, which I will talk about more in the next slide. So what is the difference between explicit versus implicit memories? Explicit memory is when you consciously recall or recognize particular information and is information you consciously work to remember. There are two different types of explicit memories. There is semantic, meaning words, / declarative, meaning events. This type of memory is the facts and knowledge, word-based or word-based information. Examples include facts, historical information, math facts, or vocabulary. Another type of explicit memory is our episodic, which is our autobiographical memory, personal experiences, and those associated with our emotions. Some examples are what you did yesterday, our high school graduation, or your wedding day. Our implicit memory is an enhanced performance on a task as a result of our prior experience, despite having no conscious awareness of recollecting the prior experience. It is information remembered unconsciously and effortlessly and can be automatic over time with repetition. The one type of implicit memory we have is called procedural, meaning muscle memory or performing actions without conscious awareness. Some examples of procedural memory are singing a familiar song, typing on your keyboard, brushing your teeth, or riding your bike. These type of memories you should do without having to think about it. Implicit and explicit memory do not work in isolation, for they can interact with each other in different ways. An example of them working together is take you riding a bike. Your implicit memory will allow you to do the action of pedaling the bike without having to think about it. But your explicit memory can come into play and allow you to recall the new route you may have memorized from a map. This picture gives a visual representation of the two memories, explicit and implicit. In the yellow, is our explicit memory, or our declarative memory, which is memory you consciously recall. The example given is a guitar. Semantic memory allows you to recall what exactly a guitar is, and your episodic memory allows you to remember the time that you bought that guitar. Both of these you must consciously think about. In the red is our implicit memory, or the memories that you unconsciously recall. Our procedural memory will allow you to remember how to play the guitar. Memory or amnesia types. The definition of amnesia is the loss of memories. There are two different ways that one may experience amnesia, either retrograde or anterograde amnesia. Retrograde amnesia is a common consequence of brain damage, such as having a stroke. It is the loss of personal past after trauma, and the memory often recovers. An example of retrograde amnesia is you were in a car accident and you don't remember what happened before the accident, but you can remember day-to-day events after the accident. In this case, your long-term memory could be damaged and your short-term memory and/or working memory is still intact. The other type of amnesia is anterograde amnesia. This is when you can't recall day-to-day or present events, and your past memory or your long-term memory is still intact. It can also make it difficult transferring short-term memory and developing long-term memory. An example of anterograde amnesia is you remember what you had for breakfast or what you did 5 years ago, but day-to-day stuff is hard to do and remember. In this case, you can remember stuff from your long term, but your short term is what is affecting. Here are just a few signs that can occur when you may have some memory problems or memory loss. Keep in mind that everyone is different, and finding the cause of the problem is important for determining the best course of action. The following are areas that can be a cause of concern and raise red flags. Asking the same question over and over again, getting lost in places you know well, having trouble following recipes or directions, becoming more confused about time, people, and places, not taking care of yourself, such as eating poorly, not bathing, or behaving unsafely, the inability to make new memories or learn new information, noticing changes in personality, mood, and behavior. This is a common link. When someone has Alzheimer's, their mood often shifts to be aggressive and mean. And lastly, problems with your focus, concentration, and your attention. There are multiple different factors that can play into why one may experience memory loss. Some common causes include medications. A number of prescriptions can interfere or cause loss of memory, such as antidepressants, sleeping pills, or muscle relaxant. Alcohol or drug use can also cause memory loss. Sleep deprivation. Both our quantity and quality of sleep are important for memory, since our sleeping helps to consolidate and retrieve information from the day and process it into our long-term memory. Depression and stress can lead to making it difficult to focus and get in the way of our concentration, making it harder for us to process our information and consolidate it into our long-term memory. Nutritional deficiency, when we don't have a high quality food, which is important for our proper brain function. Having a stroke can cause short-term memory loss, leading right from the stroke all the way up to months after. Dementia is another cause for memory loss. Dementia is a name for progressive loss of memory and other aspects of thinking that are severe enough to interfere with the ability to function in daily activities. And lastly, there is age-associated memory impairment. Our memory can change as we get older and is a normal part of aging. Alzheimer's, however, is not a normal part of aging. Here are some differences between normal aging and when it may turn into something more serious like Alzheimer's. For normal aging, you may make a bad decision once in a while. You may miss a monthly payment. You may forget the day or the time, but remember it later. You may find it you are forgetting which word to use, or you lose track of items from time to time, but can retrieve them afterwards. For someone who may have Alzheimer's, they may have poor judgment and decisions a lot of the time. They will have problem taking care of monthly bills and may miss paying their monthly bills more than once. They may lose track of the date or time. They will have trouble having and holding a conversation, and they may often lose items and will not be able to find them and retrieve them. Studies have been done to look at the effects of physical activity in Alzheimer's. This study included more than 160,000 participants and found a 45% reduction in the risk of developing Alzheimer's due to the regular practice of physical activity. I mention this because physical activity is so important for not only our physical and mental health, but for our cognitive health too, and that physical activity can help stop the onset or prevent you from developing Alzheimer's disease. Here I will discuss some ways that one can do to help better their memory or work to help them work better with the memory that they have. Some strategies may work for some and not for others. Finding the best solution for you is the best course of action, even if it means trial by error with more than one technique. The first strategy is the word list recall. There are different programs on the computer to help with this, but this is trying to remember a set of words over a period of time. The next strategy is visual cues with different colors for different concepts. So going in your kitchen and labeling different items with different colors that might mean different things can help you to memorize what is used for what in the kitchen. Another strategy is to break down the task or the instruction and make it more simpler. Another strategy is to use the acronym SING to help remember what you hear. The S means stop. The I means to identify the main points. The N means to never mind the details. And the G means get the gist of the conversation. When listening to someone talk, using SING can help you to understand and condense what the person is saying to you. Another strategy is to use spaced retrieval. This is recalling of information over a repetitively longer period of time intervals. You may start with 30 seconds, and if you are able to retrieve the word successfully, then the time length should be increased, which can help one to learn small amounts of information. Writing things down, making notes in our phone, or making voice recordings are another good way that can help you to remember important things. The use of prompts is a great way to help with your memory. Some examples of the use of prompts are to set your phone or a cooking timer to remind you when you need to take your medication, leaving things like your keys and wallets near your front or garage door so that you see them when you leave, and having a pill box with the days and when you need to take a certain medication. Keeping things in the same place and labeling your cupboards and drawers can make it easy to locate certain items and make it less difficult to retrieve these items. Memory games, which can be done on your phone or on the computer, is a great way to help boost your memory. Getting plenty of sleep to help consolidate everything you took in during the day. Having a healthier diet to promote better brain health. And lastly, engaging in either exercise or physical activity to help prevent or lessen the onset of a certain memory problem. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.